to, and welcome to the live. Today we're doing a live, and it's entitled, The Traits That Weak Men, the female traits that weak men prey on. Hey. I'm gonna get started, and yes, I'll stop and start and say hi to everybody as they come in. Yes, hello everybody, how are you doing? Of course, if you're watching the replay, feel free to fast forward. Hello, my darlings. How are you? How are you? Thank you for joining me. I love it. I still have the cough, so you're gonna have to bear with me, but I am excited to be here this Thursday. I'm only here for an hour because I have a meeting that cannot be moved in an hour. And I do this for a reason, because I'll stay here for 10 hours with you because I love spending time with you. I am going to race through today's topic, keep it really succinct. And then hopefully I will have some time at the end to answer some questions. And then we can do fun things. Okay. So, darlings. So today we're talking about the female traits that weak men prey on. Now let's just get some definitions out of the way. Men who are strong men, usually are valiant, they are brave. They feel the same things that every man feels, but they're brave and they're valiant. And to me, a strong man is a man who has virtue, a man who stands upright, a vertical man, a man who moves in straight lines, A strong man knows he can move any obstacle out of his way. A strong man doesn't see an obstacle as a problem. Top of the day, darling. I'm Tiffany RJ. It's top of the day to you. Strong men don't go into the world trying to skirt difficulty. They have this mindset that an obstacle is something that strength and power can overcome. Strong men are masculine men, okay? They want to overcome, they want to solve, they want to conquer. They want to conquer. I thought it was women who prey on men. Well, honey, this is a channel for women, so we don't need to talk about that. We already know those girls because we are girls, right? We are not those girls. We're really talking about anyway, never mind. You get the drift. When we're talking about masculine energy men, these are strong men. These are men that are tuned into the testosterone, that have good testosterone levels. This is so important because men are operating at a very low testosterone level. The hormones in the water, in the food, blah, 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 and the lifestyle is men are not in the testosterone, which is what gives them that motivation, that sense of strength, ability to do anything and win. Okay. So strong men don't see obstacles or difficulties as a hindrance to what they need to get. They see it as a challenge. They enjoy it. It fires them up, gets them going. Weak men are men who enter the world feeling incompetent, incapable, secretly holding this little secret in their hearts that they're weak. Now, he's never going to admit it to himself, because what man is going to stand in front of the mirror and say, hey, look, I'm weak. But what's going to show up for us is a man who cannot tolerate any kind of obstacle, any man who cannot accept that access is not for everybody. Okay, the only men that push back against high value principles of a woman are going to be weak men. Okay, weak men are always going to push back because they're not strong enough. They don't have the capacity, the competency. Neither do they stand in their masculine. Neither do they have anything of worth and of value to invite anyone into. So what they do is they come to the world, to women, empty-handed. They come to women with no idea. And I want you to know that there are a lot of men who have no idea whatsoever how to penetrate the world and get resources. Especially the current man, this feminine guy Let the men handle the men. Okay, I think we've got one in the comments. Uh, they don't really know how to handle life. They really don't. Some of these guys feel trapped, but they don't realize that each man was born with the capacity to penetrate the world, to penetrate difficult things, to have power and conquest over the world. This is the masculine energy psychology. But when a man is in his feminine and in his weak space, he is not conscious of his power. He is conscious of what's working against him, is conscious of why the world doesn't quite fit the way, he's more aware of these women. They're trying to, that's what he's aware of. He's not actually internally aware of his power. Okay. So when I'm talking about weak men, that's what I'm talking about, because strong men won't have this problem. Why would a man not block you, keep you unblocked, but ignore you, only text you when you want? Okay, we'll get to the questions after, because I want to get through these 3 traits that I believe I just always have to deal with in different ways, shapes, or form. If as a woman you don't master what I'm about to tell you, you are weak men's prey. They love you. The weak men will ruin you. Weak men will lower your self-esteem. Weak men will damage you. A lot of the damage we're seeing in us as women is because we gave weak men access. Yeah, if a man can't lead you as the head, he will ruin you. When you give weak men access to you, they will damage you. When they damage you, you come out of your feminine energy and you go into your masculine, and then you become low value to high value masculine men because you're so used to the abuse and the belittling and the ruin that weak men bring you, that because a weak man has to diminish you. He has to bring you down to his level. Mr. Too Shorter 27 says true. Thank you. We've got a strong man in the house. When you've been damaged by weak men, you become more guarded, angry, all of these things. And so when God brings you a high value masculine man, a man who knows who he is, a man who stands in his power, a man who's penetrated the world, fought to get to the top of the mountain, done all of these things in order for him to stand as a man and say, yeah, I'm capable and I'm competent and I'm ready to take on the responsibility of a feminine woman. You are so traumatized that you don't actually sit back in your feminine and let him lead and guide and show you how amazing he is. So we gotta get rid of weak men in our lives. We're not gonna get rid of them in the world, but we're gonna have to get rid of weak men. And before we do that, I want to also emphasize I'm so sorry. I want to emphasize that if you are going to take your standard and say, right, I'm not dealing with weak men, I want you to understand something, my beloved. You will be saying no to more men than you've ever said no to. You are going to be rejecting more guys way quicker than you've had to in your past. I mean, we have to sift through the wheat from the chaff, and unfortunately, there's so much chaff. Okay, so if you're that kind of girl who needs to be wanted, who needs men to choose her, if you're a choose me, pick me kind of girl, this is not going to work for you. If you are desperate for men's attention, this is not going to work for you. If you place your value in how many men, they're more feminine men that don't lead and want princess treatment, is creepy, totally, 100%. If you want men to, if you're defined by your relationship status, you're defined by the man that you're walking into the room, you're defined by men, like so many of us weak women, the Bible calls them silly women. Okay, so while we're talking about weak men, let's also check ourselves. Are we weak-minded? Okay, because if you're weak-minded, you pedestalize men, you define yourself by your relationship status, you put value on any attention, and so weak men are going to come for you. Okay, right. So because black swans are the most majestic, beautiful creatures who have a deep sense of self-worth and self-value, we're not going to have this problem. Are we, darlings? No, we're not. Okay, good. Let's move on to point 1. Feminine women, we're built with the psychology of being agreeable. Okay, feminine energy is agreeable, is flexible, it's fun, it goes with the flow. Okay, feminine energy is flow energy. Okay, and masculine men love a bit of flow. They like a bit of flow because they live in a world that is very structured, very disciplined, very regimented. Because masculine men know that to conquer, they have to present themselves to the world as disciplined. They know that they have to be structured. They know they have to be focused. They know that in order to penetrate the world, to get resources, they have to exist within a particular structure. And so they are able to express their feminine fully with a feminine woman, okay? Because we all need to be able to have an expression of our other side. I need an expression for my masculine. That's why I'm here, because in this moment, I am in my masculine energy because I am teaching and I'm giving thought, okay? So whenever you are in your headspace, or you are teaching or preaching or giving, you are in your masculine. So in this moment, I'm in my masculine, and I absolutely enjoy it. I enjoy having an outlet for my masculine energy, because if I don't have that, I'm not going to be a whole person. I'm not going to have the full human experience. And the other way that I can experience my masculine energy is to be fully with a man who is masculine. Because when he's in his masculine, I can actually sit in his energy and just enjoy him without having to leave that place and space in my heart. So I can stay in my feminine and kind of lean into the masculine environment that he provides for me. That's so cool. That's why there's such a beautiful compliment, right? That's why we want masculine men, because we get to sit in our feminine and enjoy being in that masculine space. Just the kind of covering he provides, the safety he provides, the everything else that a masculine man brings to the table. Okay. So a masculine man in the same way enjoys the feminine when he's creating, and when he is nurturing, and when he is loving and doing all of these, kind of softer things. Men need to express that part when they're talking about their feelings in a healthy way, in a healthy environment. Yes, we need men who are in tune with who is not in tune with his feminine energy, because then you can't have moments of flow. You can't have moments of creativity. Okay, so we want men to be tuned in, but we don't want them sitting in it. Okay, which is what the problem we have now. We have men who sit in feminine energy, think like women. I mean, they're all over the comment section. These real masculine men don't follow my stuff other than to check me out or to check whoever girl I've got, that's the only interest really. They're not particularly, masculine men like my work because they know it's true. Like masculine men like my work. But feminine men, well, they're out here complaining and making noise in the comments because they are in their feelings. They sit in their emotions, and they're easily triggered, and they're dysregulated, and they just need to do some trauma work. Okay. So women are by nature agreeable, especially if we're going to be feminine, but there is going to be a test that a weak man is going to give you. And this is, I was trying to find the right phrase for it, but it's the sense of overly agreeable. Now, when we have a low self-esteem and when we have low self-worth, or we're really deeply insecure, then our attachment to the world is going to be insecure. We're going to, as women, mainly lean into that anxious attachment where we want to hold on to anything, we'll take anything. And so the first test that a weak man is going to give you is going to ask you to lower your standards. Okay. So I want you, all you have to do is go in my comment section, and what do we have? Men fighting for women to lower their standards. No, how dare you, you silly, horrible woman with a funny wig on your head. And all of that makeup, how dare you tell women that a man shouldn't split the bill? Oh my God, you horrible, horrible, horrible. No one ever's going to marry you. I mean, it's all in the comments section. They hate me because I am teaching women to maintain standards, okay? You have your personal standard. I can't tell you what that is. You've got to figure it out for yourself. What is your personal standard? The first thing a man's going to do is change your standards. Okay. He's the guy that's going to ask you on a date that you don't feel is appropriate for you. And he's going to know that. He's going to know that that's inappropriate. But the moment you start to say, you know what, I wanted to be understanding with Johnny. I think I should be more understanding. I should, kind of just give him a bit of a chance and, give him a go. Then what happens is he realizes that you're a woman who will lower your standards. And these are the women that men prey on. As a black swan, your standard is your standard. Your standard is your sifting mechanism. If a man is not prepared to meet your standard, after you vocalize, I've got all kinds of stuff. I think today's thing is how to ask him. So plenty of tools of how to get a man or ask a man to meet your standard. If a man refuses to meet your standard, if he's coming to you on this level and you believe that you've done enough work to be on that level, walk away. If you want to send a message to men, to any man, that you love yourself, respect yourself, and that he will treat you right or you will keep it moving, you have to be the kind of woman who keeps it moving. Because he is going to try you, okay? And sometimes that trying doesn't happen straight away. Sometimes you'll go on a date and he'll pay and you'll be a gentleman. Now, I absolutely hate this idea that weak men are so annoying. When we're talking about a man paying for dates, we're talking about courting. We're talking about being a gentleman. We're talking about just showing up as a man who leads. We don't need you to pay for our food. Or maybe some of us do, but black swans don't. Like, we're not starving. What we're saying is, I have so much to offer a man. I am so full. I'm so abundant. If you come into my life, I don't know any man that's come into my life and not 10x'd. I personally don't. If you've been in my life and you've been in my man, you will have 10x'd. You will 10x. I don't care where I met you, right? I know that I've got that power and that ability within myself. So as a result, I don't give that away for free to anybody, because I know that whatever you're going to invest in me is only going to be seed. If you're going to pay for a date, it's a seed, because if you sow it into me, we're going to germinate a tree. Okay. We're going to germinate a harvest. Okay. So I'm not prepared to negotiate my standards, because I'm fully aware of what I bring into a man's life. I'm fully aware that I'm anointed to be a wife. I'm fully aware that a wife builds. I'm fully aware of my capacity and my ability to bring forth life in every sphere. I am fully connected to my God-like nature of creating life and bringing life into the world. You give me a sperm and I give you a baby. So when a man's paying, I don't feel I need to negotiate. I don't even negotiate on the terms of, but I did my makeup and hair, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no. I am intrinsically born with the capacity to give birth to life. I am born with the spiritual, mental, physical capacity to birth life. Therefore, my standard is my standard. That is that. And guess what? I don't need every man to like me. I really don't. I just need the one that is worthy to choose me so I can choose him. Then we can move on. There are billions of men in the world. Why do we lower our standards for Mr. Weak guy, Mr. Low effort guy, Mr. Low investment guy? Because we don't have an abundance mindset, right? You gotta have an abundance. We don't have a deep self-awareness of our intrinsic value. A lot of us put our value in the way that we look. No, baby. The way you look is part of your perceived value. right? But perceived value is not what gives us the ability to stand in our high valueness and stand 10 toes down and say, I am a sacred woman. I am a sacred being. In many cultures, the woman in certain African cultures, in fact, if not all of them, the woman is not even seen as a human. The woman is seen as a spirit, a godlike spirit. Most ancient cultures have always perceived the woman as an ancient spirit. We are just incredible. Our intrinsic value is enough for you to stand. You know, these men be like, take your wig off. Honey, I'm not taking my wig off for anybody, okay? But that's not because I've got a low self-esteem. It's because it doesn't give me value. And I don't need to prove myself to a fool. Okay, I don't need to prove myself to a fool, because as a man of God, as a man with enlightened consciousness, you should know when you're looking at a woman that you are looking at the reflection of God. You're looking at a reflection of God. And yes, when we look at men, we should see them as a reflection of God too. Okay, now a woman that thinks like me, who's able to look at a man as a reflection of God, she doesn't settle. Okay, she doesn't settle. You're not selling me dust. You're not going to shame me into accepting you. You're not going to talk me down from my throne. Okay, you step up. You step up right here, right? This is where we are. And strong men, capable and competent men, they know how to get there, because guess what? They don't approach the world with things must be easy. Strong men have built their empires. And I'm not talking about money. Okay? Let's not get it twisted. There are a lot of weak, rich men. Okay? A lot of them. I'm talking about men who have purpose in their hearts, assignment, destiny. That guy is so sexy to me, like so sexy. Okay. A man who's just chasing money for me he's doing his basic duty, right? But the truth is, you know, Martin Luther King wasn't making money, but he was changing the world. I can get behind that. Okay, I can get right behind that. For me, when I talk about strength, it's not about money. It's about men with purpose, with an assignment. Okay, because that guy is worth more than silver or gold. Okay, he is worth everything. Now, he still should have a provider mindset. He still should feel responsible for his family, for his woman, and for the children and the world. That doesn't excuse him. Doesn't get to be a loser. But I'm not judging on that pretext, because those things don't impress me. Okay. I don't expect you to be broke though. All right. So don't be the woman who lowers, even if he doesn't know that you're doing it. If you know you're doing it, don't do it. Because that's an energy signature, right? We're sending out an energy field that says, yeah, I'll lower my standards. Because guess what? A weak man will have you lowering your standards until you have none. Okay? So I really want us to bear that in mind. I can labor this forever, but I'll end up running out of time. The second thing is weak boundaries. And no means no, baby. For all of the fights that we have put out into the world, women empowerment, blah, 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 you have to take personal advocacy for yourself. And your no must mean no. A man knows when you're doing something you don't want to do to please him. He knows when you're having sex with him to please him. He knows when you're agreeing to something to please him that you know is a violation of who you are. Your boundaries have to do with protecting yourself. Your boundaries are about protecting yourself, because guess what? In the world we live in, where fathers and brothers and the males in our lives were there to cover us and protect us. I was saying to my sister the other day that my brother used to get on my nerves, because my dad used to assign him my protector, right? He's older than me by probably like 15 years. But he monitored me day and night. No guy could talk to me. And if they did, they couldn't talk to me. Like, literally, he was my bodyguard. I couldn't go out. I mean, I could tell you stories about the horror that my brother was, right? However, I didn't appreciate it when I was 17, 18, 15, 14 with all these boys trying to talk to me. I didn't appreciate it. But as I become a grown woman, I realized that he was actually doing his God-given role. And my father and him were doing what they were supposed to do. They were taking care of me, making sure I am safe, making sure that I couldn't have vetted men. I mean, the vetting that we have to do as women in the 21st century, we haven't got the ability. Only a man can vet another man to the extent. I'm probably one of the few women that I know, and that's because of study and works and thousands of women that I've worked with who can vet a man like a man can vet a man. And even then, sometimes I miss it, okay? Because men were always supposed to vet the men that come into our lives. Our fathers were supposed to vet them. Our brothers were supposed to vet them. Our male cousins were supposed to vet them. And I had that. And what did that mean for me? It meant that I was able to be a virgin when I was married. It meant that I was able to, kind of have a certain protection. But when my protection left, when my brother was no longer there, then I fell into the wrong relationship. Then I went into an unsafe space and I ended up in a marriage that I had to walk away from. But I could see clearly when the protection of the men in my life was removed by just circumstance. I was traveling, I came here and it was what it was. But when a woman is fully protected, she is fully fathered, and her brothers and the males in her life give her complete protection, she doesn't have to do any of these things. Because the father is going to set the boundary for the men. The father is going to set the standard for any man that comes to her. The father is going to set the boundaries. The father is going to set the pace. But many of us, sadly, don't have our fathers in our lives for whatever reason. So we can cry over that, or we can become what we need to become so we can protect our femininity. We can learn how to vet a man. And these are the ways that I'm giving you. Hold your standard like your father would fight for it. If you never had a father, pretend you had one and that he's the guy that stood at the door and greeted the guy as he came to pick you up and gave him pretend that you love yourself the way your dad does, and that your dad would never let you be taken on a dodgy date. He wouldn't even let you out the front door, okay? So without getting into your masculine, I want you to think, I am my protector now. I am my protector now. No one is coming to save the day. I am her. And the only way that I can bring that into my life in a way where I can still maintain my femininity is to have a standard and maintain. Is to have boundaries and maintain. If you do something to please a man, but it violates who you are, you signal to him that you are fodder. Because once a creepy, weak man gets a glimpse of that, he's going to bring you to a place where you are undone. When God creates something in a particular way and it gets perverted, it becomes very dangerous. The man was created to be the provider and the protector. He's perverted. He wants to take from the woman. He wants to take from her. That guy will have no mercy. He will have no mercy. And guess what happens when you have a true sense of self, intrinsic value, and your boundaries are set and your standards are upheld? He's not going to want to waste time with you. You know what he's going to do? He's going to bitch, moan, and complain and go off and find somebody else. And you've got to let him do that. Don't go chasing after him. Don't go lowering your boundaries. Don't go second guessing yourself. If it's too soon, it's too soon. If you don't feel like it, you don't feel like it. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, it makes you feel uncomfortable. And if he needs to go, bye. See you later, alligator. Bye, right? And be the kind of woman. You get to walk away from me once. Okay? You get to walk away once. So I'm going to let you know, I'm going to play fair, and I'm going to let you know that I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel ready to do that. I don't want you to speak to me that way. I don't feel comfortable with you speaking to me that way. I don't feel comfortable giving you that. I don't feel comfortable sharing that with you. Boundaries. I'm going to let you know because that's how we play fair. Because I don't want you guessing, so I'm going to let you know. And if your response is to belittle me, blame me, do all this foolishness that these weak men are doing, then what I'm going to do is walk away for good. But if you are a masculine man, then you are in your divine wiring. You are in your divine nature. You want to make sure I'm comfortable. You want to make sure I feel safe with you. You want to make sure that you create comfort around me. This is the truth about the masculine man. And I know some of you have never met one or never been with one, but I want you to know that just because you haven't met one or been with one doesn't mean they don't exist. And it doesn't mean that what I'm saying is wrong because you have no reality of it. A masculine man wants you to be comfortable. He wants you to feel safe. He needs you to feel safe. That he takes your security and safety personally. He takes your comfort personally, right? So when we set those boundaries and we say it, okay, how to talk to men so they listen is the masterclass. High value strategies is the masterclass for this. A man, he's saying, you know, a masculine man is going to be like, okay, yeah, I like this girl. She knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She has a standard. She's got boundaries. She's a challenge. This is the kind of woman I want to work for. This is the kind of woman I want to earn. Okay, because I'm a masculine man. I don't like things handed to me. I don't like things given to me. I like to earn things. I like to work for things. I like to achieve things. I like to win things, okay? So she's the kind. But what's killing us as a whole as women is, but what if he goes away and I end up alone? And you are going to end up alone, busted and disgusted if you entertain weak men. Because in the end, you're going to have to walk away after you've had babies with them or you got yourself entangled. You're wasting your life and your time with a weak man. If a weak man pushes against your boundaries and you give him a bit of, I'm just going to give him a chance, you are throwing your life down the loo. There is nothing that man has to give. No value he brings into your life. You will just be one out here taking pictures with an idiot and with a fool. Your children are going to have that dude as a father, poor things. You know, we have to really choose our children's fathers. Okay? The last thing I'm going to talk about, only because I'm running out of time, is self-abandoning. We have to be women that don't self-abandon. Are you available on Friday for a date? I'd like to take you out, but you've made plans. And then you go and change your plans to accommodate him. You self-abandon. I'm not saying that we don't make time for love and connection. I believe in that. I love love. I love connection. I'm not saying we don't prioritize love and connection. What I'm saying is that you shouldn't have to change your whole entire schedule plan, let your friends down or whatever, because understand something. Everything is working for your good. The way your life is structured, it's meant to be structured that way. The way your day-to-day is structured, it's meant to be structured that way. Give him, especially in the early stages, what you have spare. So if you're not available on Friday, you're not available on Friday. You're available on Saturday morning. But what we do is we get into this self-abandoning, and once a predator and a weak guy figures out that this girl will change her plans for me, you've been had. And it's not just about changing plans. The whole self-abandoning piece is really what I was talking about when it comes to your standards and your boundaries. When we abandon ourselves, the first thing we do is get rid of our standards and boundaries. And men do it too, by the way. Men do it too all the time. Men do it too all the time. But this is a place for women, so we're talking about girls. So I want you to realize that this trait that you have to be agreeable, to work with a man, to be fluid, to flow, to go with the flow, to be fun, to be flirty, to be all of these amazing things, that's a good thing. But when you have unresolved issues, unresolved trauma, and an insecurity that you keep to yourself, that you haven't worked on, that you refuse to work on, you're going to find yourself in a situation you're going to find yourself in a situation where you are prey. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you anymore. Here's what I want. Here's what I want for all of us. I want us to love ourselves collectively enough to send a very strong message to men as a whole that we don't play that game. Now, we will have traitors amongst us. We will have pick-me's and women that will, betray the cause. Let them go do that. Let them keep the weak men happy. But as a collective, we should set a standard that says, well, look, we don't entertain this. I've had men in my DMs who are like, how do I get a black swan? How do I access a black swan? Okay. And when I meet with men on the one-to-one calls that I have with them, they're like, I want you to help me become the kind of man that can date a black swan. And these men are highly successful. It's not that they can't find pretty women. It's not that they can't get laid. Don't get it twisted. It's because there's a certain caliber of woman that these men are looking for. And that caliber of women are black swans. And what I have just told you, what I've just shared with you in a few minutes, those are the base components of being a black swan. If you want to be a rare creature that is highly desirable, highly sought out, be okay with the persecution from the pick-me's. Be okay with the weak men flooding your life, flooding your comment section. If you are somebody that creates content, be good with that. I welcome them. I welcome them because, quite frankly, they help the algorithm, okay? They're always here with the comments. It raises my engagement and it allows more women to get the message. So I'm like, bring it on, because I actually believe that the weak, foolish men actually have their purpose. They have their purpose, and their purpose is to real top daddies in the house. Coach Unique. They actually help this work grow. So I don't mind them. And because I saw a comment from Happy Single Mom, love her, follow her. And she was like, oh, they're always in her comments. Let them come, because they're actually really good for the algorithm. Okay. But don't ever let they're weak. Come on, girls. Come on. Stop pandering. Stop pandering to to these weak men. They have nothing for you. Stop it. Some of you have started agreeing to going on these stupid low investment dates. Stop it. Stop it. Just because weak men are loud, making noise, and all over the dating apps and all over the streets does not mean we need to pander to them. You don't need to pander to them, because guess what? If you maintain your feminine energy and you maintain your intricate sense of value, when you maintain your I am worthy and worth it, and you have that in your deeper psychology, in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit, a strong man is coming. He's coming. And he's going to be ready for you. He's going to want you. He's going to be like, this is the one. I know, because I have clients who are meeting strong men every day. Clients who I've got an engagement to announce very soon. I'm just waiting for her to send me the pictures. And another marriage that went through recently as well. All of these women came to the Black Swan Relationship Academy and they were only used to dating weak men. And now they are with strong men. I am not selling you a hoax. You know what I'm selling you? I'm going to tell you what I'm selling you. I'm selling you the ancient paths. Ancient paths for the modern woman. It worked for the matriarchs. It will work for you. Our mothers who won and end up with the strong men. And let me tell you something about strong men. Strong men make it. Strong men create a legacy. Strong men have posterity. Strong men are why we even have men now. And yes, weak men manage to, trick some woman into giving them babies. But ultimately, society is made because strong men exist. Take strong men away and we don't have a society. Strong men, something that my son said to me yesterday is like, Mom, the strong men are busy holding down the world. They don't have time for the foolishness. He's 18, by the way, but he's like 18 turning 100. Okay. And he's like, the strong men are in the armies. The strong men are running things. They're holding the borders. The strong men are at the borders of our countries, stopping invasions. The strong men are monitoring screens to make sure bombs don't come through. The strong men are doing the heavy lifting so the weak men can be in our comments talking crap. It's the strong men that keep a society. This is why if you want to break down a society, you break down the men. Because it's the men that hold the structure so that the women can multiply and bring life into the world. When the men are strong, the women multiply. They create life. Okay? We have strong men in the world, but the problem is we have weak women that pander to weak men. We have women that play to the drum of the weak men. Let me tell you something before I end my little rant. Okay? In each man is a seed of greatness. Even the idiot in the comments. God forgive me for calling you people idiots. I'm so sorry. I take it back. Even the weak men in the comment section, in each of them, is a seed of greatness, is a seed of strength, is a seed of power. I remember when I was in the US, I've just came back about 3 days ago, and okay, right, the algorithm shifted, and I started to get a whole breed of men, okay? Very angry, guys, were in my comments, and at first my feelings got hurt. And then I remember sort of really kind of praying, and I'm like, God, this is awful. I mean, the hordes and the things they're saying. I mean, they were calling me trans. I mean, they were doing it. They were doing the most, okay? And I was getting my feelings hurt. I was really heartbroken. I was crying. So I'm praying, and I realized, and God said to me, well, you're a feminine woman. Why don't you speak to the strength in them? Speak to the masculine in them, because it's not dead. So the following day, I decided that I was going to speak to their masculine. I was going to speak to their strength. I was going to speak to that seed. I was going to call forth the king. And in the comments, I was vulnerable. I was like, oh, that really hurt my feelings when you said that. And something really interesting happened, okay? So when you're feminine, I went into my feminine energy. And I thought, right, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to do these things. And it was a bit of an experiment. So I chose a few guys. One of the guys, I think he had said something really horrible. Like, it must feel really heavy with all that makeup on your face. And that would have hurt my feelings. And I said to him, that really hurt my feelings. I can't believe you woke up this morning and thought to say something like that to a woman who's never done you any harm, right? Because I know when you speak to a man in that way, and even if he's toxic, it is going to pull on his masculine energy, because they are hardwired to protect a woman and her feelings, right? But some of us act like we don't have any feelings, so then they have nothing to protect, so they just go at us, right? So he messaged me right back, and he said, I'm so sorry, queen, I didn't mean it, And then I realized, the more I spoke to the king, to the seed on the inside of them, I was getting sorries, I didn't mean it, I'm so sorry. And I actually started to have some conversations in the DMs with some of them. And what I found in the DMs, these guys were savage in the comments, but in the DMs, they were like puppies, like little kittens. Why? Because I shifted my position. I shifted my position from being a victim to truly standing in my feminine power and knowing that in each of these men is a strong man trying to come out. There's a Hulk in every man we meet. The problem is, are you the Black Widow? Are you the woman that can stand on your standards, stand on the top of your mountain, stand within your boundaries and call that man to greatness? Because when I say this is my standard, and if you really truly want me, you're going to come up. You will. You'll come up. You're going to be like the guys in my DMs who were sweet to me. And I've got friends now. Some of these guys are now my friends. Because I wouldn't allow myself to go down to that level of brokenness. But I invited them to come to mine. What if all of us did that? What if all of us, married, single, in relationship, what if we all as women said, I believe in you. I believe you can be what I need. And the only way that I'm going to show you that I believe in you is to maintain my standard and watch you strive to reach it. I used to think that I was being kind to men by lowering my standards and being flexible with my boundaries and self-sabotaging. I used to think I was being kind to them. I thought I was being high value. I thought I was being valuable to men. Until God said to me, when you pick up a man, when a man comes to you with a low investment, low effort, and you accept him, you are telling him, this is your level. I accept that this is where you'll always be. You will always be on your knees. You will always be begging. You will always be low. You're saying, I accept that you are here. So I always have to come down my mountain. I have to come down my throne and meet you there. And in my mind, I'm doing him a favor. I'm showing humility. No. That man on his knees, that man doing what he's doing, that man, if I say to him, rise on your feet, great knight. Rise on your feet, great and mighty knight. Pull out your sword. And I'm going to be sitting right here waiting for you to fight the dragon so you can take the queen. What I'm saying is, I refuse to allow you to remain weak. I refuse to allow you to only know yourself at that level, because you saw this, you wanted this because there's greatness in you. Now you might decide I'm not worthy of the fight, or you might decide you don't have the ability to get up off your knees. But ladies, it's time that we help our brothers out by requiring them to get up off their knees. What is their knees? Their excuses. Oh, the economy, excuses. Why do I call them excuses? Because they're men doing it. They're men who came from nothing, making themselves something. When women, which is why men do anything, they'll tell you all kind of things in the comment section, but the highest motivator for men is women. When women say, get up off your knees, sir. Get up. You're bigger than that. You're stronger than that. You're more powerful than that. You're mightier than that. You're more capable than that. When I say there's certain dates I won't accept. That's a personal thing for me. Don't ask me to that date because I'm not doing it. It might feel like I'm being Miss whatever. But in truth, I'm saying you can do better, sir. You are more than that. You are more than that. When we lower our standards, we're allowing men to remain weak. And when we allow men to remain weak, we lose our protectors. When we allow men to remain weak, we lose our providers. And when we lose our protectors and we lose our providers and we lose the men that are supposed to cherish us and our children, we do not have a safe environment to use the spiritual and natural womb that God gave us to create the beauty that is the world. But as women, we must come together and call them higher. We collectively have to call men higher. You can do better. You can commit to me, sir. You have it in you. You don't have to stay on your knees. You don't have to be the guy that is going from woman to woman, wasting your strength on women. Get up off your knees, sir. As high and lofty as I am, I pay a price to sit on this throne. Because there is no throne that any one of you beautiful queens are sitting on that you don't pay a price for. To be who you are, to be on this call, to be here with me in this moment, is because you are me and I am you. It's because we have a high calling to become queens. That comes with a lot of restraint. That comes with tears. That comes with rejection. That comes with suffering. That comes with being... To be me comes with ridicule. She's single. Why isn't she married? No. She's divorced. She wears a wig. I mean, you have no idea what it takes to be me every day. I have no idea what it takes to be you every day. But you be you. You be you. And you're here because something on the inside of you knows that you are worthy and worth it. It's time for you to sit on your throne, put your hands down, lean back in your feminine energy, and let the men be the men. And I promise you, strong men will come. Strong men will battle. And if there is any strength in the man you're talking to, if there's any strength in him, and I believe there is, he will have to go improve himself and come back. He will have to go work on himself and come back. He will have to go and think to himself, I really want her. What is it going to take? Last but not least, as a form of encouragement, and I'll take one question. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday. I think it was my Sky TV guy. And was it one of them? Anyway, he was telling me about his love life. It happens to me everywhere I go. I'm just trying to sort out my Sky TV and he's telling me about his love life. You know, he heard what I do for a living. And he said, he fumbled a good girl because I was going to put him on the database. You know what I mean? not my database, but for you girls, I'm out here trying to find husbands for you. Okay. So he says to me, you know, I'm asking, I said, what's your situation? He said, you know, it's just one girl. I fumbled her basically. He was still hung up on another woman. So he's really trying to get this girl back. He's like, she hasn't blocked me, you know. But I tell this story to say that woman, she stuck to the code, right? She was like, if you're not coming here with commitment. And I said to him, what did you do? So I reeled out all the things that men do when they're not interested. I was like, you were hot and cold, you were in and out. He's like, yeah, I did all of that, but now I really want her. I really want to work. Why does he want her? Because she set a standard. She was like, no. If you don't come through with a come through, if you're not coming through, if you're not moving in straight lines, if you're not in it to win it, I'm out. Oh, hallelujah, I love that girl. I haven't met her, but I love her, and I want all of you to be that way. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. He went away, tried to rekindle the thing with his ex-girlfriend. That went pear-shaped. And then he had to sit down and think. This woman, her standard never went down. She never said, oh, you know, I know I'll lower my standards. I'll let you just, no. She called him higher. That woman is still on her throne. And guess what? He is fighting to get her back. Fighting. How is he fighting? He's using her standards, the ones she set for him in the beginning. I want you to know that you're worthy of what you want. You're worthy. You're worthy of that commitment. You are worthy. If you are here and you're doing the work and you're doing the courses and you're talking to the coaches, and by the way, get your complimentary call with the coaches, just comment help on any of the reels and a link will be sent to you. Have a complimentary call, because if you don't feel like you're there yet, we can help you. If you feel like, you know, Chengi, I just need to really embody my high value feminine energy, we got you. We got you. We're out here churning out black swans every day. Okay. But what I want you to know is let him go. Let the weak guy go, because guess what? He is never going to find a girl like you. Because black swans are rare creatures. You are here. There's a whole internet. But you're here because you're a black swan. Because you're rare and you're exquisite. And when a man loses you, when he farms fool, plays the fool, and loses a girl like you, he has to go think about what it takes to get you back. But guess what? You already set your standards in the beginning. So the only way he's going to get you back is not only meeting your standards, but exceeding them. And I promise you, he will. And I want you to believe in yourself. Baby girls, darlings, swans, come here to Mama Swan. Come. There's no lie. The only person that has believed the lie that you don't have value is you. The man approaching you, he knows you have value, but do you? It's the biggest scam that you don't have value. You have value. I promise you have value. But the woman has been deceived to believe she doesn't. And we're giving ourselves away for free, negotiating with terrorists and playing with Lucifer's sons. Because a lazy man is a wicked, evil man. A man who does not want to provide, to protect, to cherish, who does not strive to be worthy of that which a woman needs, safety, security. If he's not, he is the son of the devil. Why do you want to play with Lucifer's sons? Why do you feel, I promise you, if women would just, 1 year, 12 months, collectively, we don't play that. We don't, if you're not here to commit, bye. If you're not here to respect, to show me, bye. Not because we're arrogant, not because we've got some girls, blah, 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 all the women independent, but because we know what we bring. We know the work we put in. We know we've had coaching. We know we've done the courses. We know how to talk to a man. We know how to multiply a man. We know how to bring amplification to a man. We know how to make, like when you know that you are stacking power to create a king out of a pauper, if you know your ability and your spiritual capacity as a woman to take a man and turn him into a king, why would you let that man have you for free? Why? Why are we giving ourselves for a loaf of bread? Why? Because we've been lied to. And I'm here today to wake you up and to tell you the truth. For you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. We cannot do it alone. I need everyone to jump on board. 12 months. Standards, boundaries. We're not playing with you. And I promise you, a new breed of men will emerge. A new breed of men who work hard, who when men figure it out that globally women are not tolerating their BS, we don't even need generations to pass. We just need to collectively come together and say, we don't play that. There are enough of us to make a difference. Because the girls that do play that, there are not enough of them. The men don't want them anyway. May the women that men want, which are black swans, hold themselves to a standard, set some boundaries, walk away, and stop displaying traits that allow weak men to continue their reign. It's time to take our power back. And all you have to do is value yourself, have some standards, have some boundaries, hold on to them. If you've got bad standards, because some of us think we have standards, but we don't have standards. I want a rich man is not a standard. It's a preference in which you're entitled to. It's not a standard. A standard has to do with values. Generosity is a standard. So if you need any help figuring out your core needs, figuring out your femininity, let's get you ladies where you need to be able to stand in your power and stand in your glory, so we can change the world together, because the black swans are emerging. This is the time and this is the season for the black swan. It is time for the black swan to emerge, and that's you and me. And I'm excited. And I'm so sorry that I won't be able to stay and answer questions, because the ancient parts for the modern woman. Yes, that's my next book, actually. Ancient parts for the modern woman. Okay, I love you to bits and pieces. And I will come back maybe next time and we can answer some questions. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got into my little rant, but I do have to go because I have a meeting to attend. I love you lots. Take care of you. Bye-bye.